Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It is me again, Private Hire Mike, and in today's video guys I am going to be talking about airport trips. I'm going to be talking about working at the airport. So at the moment I am in the Gatwick waiting area, which is in the South Terminal, and this is pretty much where you wait when you come to the airport, and there is signage around so you will be able to find your way. Now typically what happens at the airport is you will enter the queue. Now the queue is a digital queue, and Uber registers when you come into the airport and puts you in the queue of drivers. There is a queue for both Uber X, Comfort, XL, Executive and whatever other categories there are. And I will say that when Uber first came about, it would work on a queuing system based on the numbers. Now what happens is that still is the case. However, there is something now called Trip Radar. So Trip Radar is being rolled out across the country now in England. So pretty much all markets now have Trip Radar, and I have done a video about Trip Radar, and I'll be doing a couple more because it's quite a controversial subject at the moment. Anyway, going back to the airport. So at the airport, Uber also offers Trip Radar jobs. And at the airport, it's not as bad because obviously the radar jobs, they're more higher price because they're coming out of the airport, right? Rather than local radar jobs, which can sometimes be frustrating. So that is the thing at the airport. Now, recently, Uber have done this thing now where once you get to 1 to 5, they'll pretty much give you 3 goes to accept the job. And if you don't accept it, they'll give you a sign like this. And that will be your first or second warning. After that, you'll get another warning. And that warning essentially says that we are putting you back to the end of the queue. And that goes for all queues. It generally happens for Uber X because that is the queue that moves the fastest. Most passengers book Uber X. And again, before, you would get to 1 to 5 and you'd be able to reject quite a handful of jobs, maybe up to 10, and then they would throw you out of the queue and put you back to the end. But now it's literally 3 jobs, that's it. I can say that the only time at the airport where you could really be picky and choosy is when there is a surge of people here. And there is just non-stop requests, and it will usually come in on radar. Then that is different. Now, going back to this thing where Uber kick you out, not a lot of drivers know this at the moment. So even if you do get kicked out, you'll probably get to the 1 to 5 pretty quickly again, because a lot of drivers don't know this system. They think that Uber will just keep letting them reject jobs, and then eventually after the 3rd one, they just get pushed back to the end of the queue again. So that is pretty much the situation now at the airport. Uber will kick you out after you get to 1 to 5 and you've rejected 3 jobs. That's it. Back to the end of the queue. So my advice, and this is what I'd like to do at the airport, is I'll get to Gatwick and I'll set a timer on my phone for an hour, and I'll always try and say to myself that within the hour I'll accept something, because I can always take a job that is up to an hour away and always come back to the airport and do another run, work my way back. I know some drivers that like to just come to the airport, do an airport job, work their way back, do another airport job and work their way back, and they maybe do 3 or 4 of those a day, depending on obviously the distance. And in my opinion, that is the best way, because Uber generally will send you a few radar jobs within the first hour, unless it's really quiet. Now we are coming to the end of airport season. People are generally now back at work or, doing the school runs, etc. But these are my type of tips. Now, the other thing quickly to mention is airport rematches. So as you know, if you drop off at an airport, Uber will tend to give you, not always, but tend to give you about 3 jobs first choice when you drop off at the airport. And if you're lucky enough and you're an executive driver, yes, they can be executive jobs as well. Now, again, bear in mind, you don't always get these rematches. So that is something to take into consideration. But yeah, that is pretty much the updates at the airport at the moment, as well as this. at Gatwick, don't forget to pay your car park thing, because a lot of the times it's very easy done. Now, if you've got auto pay, that's fine, but if you don't, try to remember, because you now have to do it online when you get home or on your phone. And yeah, I would say if you come to the airport, especially Gatwick, put an hour on your phone and just see what kind of jobs come in, and try and say, look, within this hour I'll just take whatever job and get the hell out of here. Because the thing is, let's say, for example, you stay at this airport for 3 hours and then accept the job. To cover those 3 hours at £20 an hour, that one job has to be worth about £60. And typically speaking, airport jobs average at around £35 to £40, unless they're going quite far, right? Most of the time, Uber's prices from the airport are quite low. However, they do go up, and that is typically after about 9 or 10 in the evening. And also on a Sunday, past midnight at Gatwick, it tends to go pretty crazy, as there is a lot of flights coming in, and I think the train stops running for a bit. But anyway, guys, those are my airport tips. Those are the things to take into consideration. I hope you found this video useful. It's not edited, it's a quick fire video, and I will be coming up with some challenges very soon. And one of my challenges, guys, is going to be doing 24 hours as an Uber driver. Right, so let me know down below in the comment section if you want to see that. And stay safe out on those roads, and I'll see you in the next video from myself, Private Hire Mike.